Hi y'all, welcome back to Banglan DIY. So today I want to show you how to make a Grinch themed soap. I'll be using a melt and pour soap base to be able to achieve this theme, of which comprises of the main color white, red and green. This is the kind of soap you can actually make and gift out to people during the seasons of Xmas. You can also make it as one of your soaps as a skincare vendor. You can make it as something you also sell, or you can make it and gift it out to people because it's actually lovely and so beautiful and attractive. So I'll be making use of red oxide color. I'll also make use of green oxide color, and then for the white I'll be making use of titanium dioxide, which is your white color. And then the what I have in the spray bottle is isopropyl alcohol. We'll be using it to spray on our surfaces. And then for the fragrance, I have a cranberry fragrance. That's what I'll be making use of. So first of all, place about 700 grams of your melt and pour soap base on fire for it to melt. This 750 grams of melt and pour soap base, after diluting it, I will measure out 250 grams for each of the layers. That means a total of 750 grams. So for the first one, I measured out 250 grams of my melt and pour soap base. Once you are done measuring it out, place it over a hot water bath so that it can still be in liquid form while you are still making use of it. You don't need to go back and keep on remelting and remelting. For the first layer, I'm starting off with green color. You can use any green color of your choice. Green oil soluble color will be your best shot, or green mica color, or green oxide color. I'm making use of green oxide color because I wanted a green color that is in a very dark shade. There are different shades of green color out there in the market you can buy and purchase. So after adding the green color to the desired shade that I want, you mix properly and then clean your mold. Make sure your mold is very neat, and you'll be using a silicone mold for this. If you don't have a silicone mold, you can use a plate, a square shaped plate or bowl in your house and make this, after which you cut it. So I'll be first of all pouring in the green shade of the color. After pouring it in, I will keep it aside for it to air dry. Within the next 10 minutes or 20 minutes, it must have hardened up to the extent that you can pour in the next shade of color. Once you're done with that, measure out another 250 grams of melt and pour soap base. And then for this time around, we'll be coloring red. And you'll be wondering why I did not heat my melt and pour soap base on fire again. It is because the pot I use in double boiling it contains hot water in it. And I made sure I left the melt and pour soap base over the hot water while covered. Therefore, it is actually still warm or hot, and it wouldn't actually cake in that kind of condition. That way you have time to work with the whole colors you want to work with without going to the fire to keep on remelting your soap. Now I added my red oxide color. Mix well so that the red color will be incorporated very well. Now note please, before you pour the red colored melt and pour soap base over the green one, what I am adding now is my cranberry fragrance. Before you pour in this red coloring over it, make sure to spray in enough IPA over each layer. If you don't pour in enough IPA or ethanol over each layer of your melt and pour soap base, once the soap hardens up, it will separate. If you don't want it to separate, make sure you spray as much as possible on the surface of your melt and pour, or on the surface of the green layer before you put on the red layer. Spray in as much as possible. If possible, just spray it in, and then you pour in the red layer. After pouring in the red layer, you also allow it to air dry. If you want it to be quicker, you can just place it in a refrigerator, and within 10 minutes or 5 minutes it must have hardened up, and then you can continue. So for the next one, we are coloring white. I've measured out the last part of the melt and pour soap base, of which is the last 250 gram. Now for this last 250 gram, I'll be adding in my dissolve. I use water to dilute my titanium dioxide. I'm using a high brand of titanium dioxide, and I'm using like a half teaspoon, just a little bit. Dissolve it in a little water, and then I added 1 teaspoon of goat milk powder to it, just to make it a goat milk layer. Then I mixed everything very well, combine it with my melt and pour soap base, and then I'll pour it over the red layer. Bear in mind that it's not all titanium dioxide that can dissolve in water. There are some brands of low quality that can only dissolve over oil, while some, if you pour it in water, it will just float. The brand I'm using can dissolve in both oil and water. It's called Kronot brand. Kronot brand is actually more expensive. These are the grade that even the people that are into building materials use. You understand? So spraying enough IPA as usual, so that your color will not bleed in. Remember, this time around is white. You should be as careful as possible to make sure the red color does not bleed into your white. Make sure the red color is very hard. Make sure the surface is hard enough. Spraying enough IPA. If not, your red coloring will bleed into your white color and it will spoil it. These are the tiny things you should note when you are doing this kind of soap. So once you are done, allow it to harden up. Look at how beautiful it looks. It looks very beautiful and very charming. There is nobody you will give this soap to or sell this soap to for any amount that would not buy. 1 kg of melt and pour soap base is even as expensive as 1,000 naira right now, as much as 10,000 naira right now in the market. 1 kg, just to buy 1 kg of melt and pour soap base. So people that make use of melt and pour soap base to make their brand soap, they know how much they sell each 150 gram or each 100 gram of it. After which, just cut it into, you can just use your kitchen knife, your cutter. I'm using a dual cutter here to cut it. You can use anything you want to just cut it. I'm cutting it into 4 layers. So if you have glitters, you can sprinkle on the surface. Glitters in red coloring or green color, sprinkle on the surface to make it beautiful. If you want to go ahead and design the surface, please do, but this is the final outcome. Make sure immediately you finish production, you use a cling film to wrap your soap. Melt and pour soap base should not be left out in the open air because it contains glycerin and you don't want it to sweat. So once you are done, just use cling film, wrap it up and put it into nylon, make it look presentable, and then you can now gift it out to people. This is how beautiful the soap outcome looks like, and I hope you appreciate this video. Please give this video a thumbs up if you actually enjoyed watching this video. If you actually enjoyed this content, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and thank you all for all you do. Make this and gift it out to your loved ones. Send it to your parents. They will appreciate it and they will love it. All those your customers that have been buying your product from January to December, make this and give to them and they will surely appreciate it.